Welcome to your Unit 3A Math Test Read Aloud video. So this box right here, you don't have to do anything with it because that is just for your teachers to use when they are grading. Okay, so we are going to start off down here with number 1. And number 1 says estimate and then solve and record a number sentence for your answer. Okay, so for question A, you would ask yourself, 3.8, is that closer to 3 or is that closer to 4? And then you would write that number down. And then that one is adding, so you would write plus. And then you're going to ask yourself, 19.62, is that closer to 19 or is that closer to 20? And then you're going to write that number down and then you're going to solve it. That's your estimation, okay? Then on the next line, you're actually going to solve this problem. I'm sorry, I skipped that 2.5. You would round that one as well. Okay, you would ask yourself, 2.5, is that closer to 2 or is that closer to 3? And then you would include that in your estimate. Okay, so you are going to do addition for letter A. For letter B, that is subtraction. Now don't let this equal sign being on this side fool you, okay? If it distracts you, you can easily cross it out and rewrite it over here, okay? So you're doing 8 minus 3.5, so again, you're estimating and then writing the exact answer. On letter C, you are multiplying, okay? So again, don't let that equal sign being on that side throw you off. You can easily cross it out and write it over here. Okay, and then you're going to do 3.7 times 5.4. First, you're going to estimate, and then you're going to answer. And on letter D, you are going to do division. So you're going to do 7.63 divided by 3.5. So again, you're going to estimate first, and then you're going to find the exact answer. So go ahead and take a minute, solve number 1, and then when you are ready, play your video to see number 2. Okay. For number 2, it says use estimation to determine the correct answer. So you're going to look at this and you're going to say, well, 43.52, is that closer to 43 or is that closer to 44? And then 10.75, is that closer to 10 or is that closer to 11? And then you're going to use those numbers to figure out which one of these answer choices is close to what you got. So that's how you're going to do number 2. You're going to do the same thing on letter B, except this one is division. So you're going to ask yourself, 4,904.9, is that going to be closer to 4,905 or 4,904? And then divided by 0.98. So you're going to round that number. And then you're going to figure out which of these numbers is close to your answer. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute and solve number 2. Okay. For number 3, these are when the word problems start, okay? So let's look at number 3. It says a rectangular garden. Okay, so remember a rectangle looks like this. Okay, rectangle. So it says a rectangular garden is 5.24 meters wide and 7.8 meters long. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle down here to help me. Okay, and I know this side is 5.24 and I know this side is 7.08 meters in meters. Okay, now knowing what I know about a rectangle, if I know this side is 5.24, I know this side has to be 5.24 because I know that rectangles have equal sides. And then I know that 7.08 is the length of this side, so I know my top has to be 7.08 meters as well. Okay, so that's what I know about a rectangle. So it's asking me how much fencing will it take to enclose the garden? So how much fencing am I going to need to go around the outside of the garden? So I would have to do all four sides. So what you are essentially finding here is the perimeter. So remind yourself, how am I going to find perimeter of this garden? What operation am I going to have to do? Using all four of these sides. Okay, so the first line right here is where you're going to write your number model. So you're going to write the numbers and tell me what operation you're doing. And then the second line, you're going to tell me what your answer is. Okay, so go ahead, take a minute and solve number 3. Okay, let's look at number 4. So number 4 says Layla earns $2,725.98 per month. How much money does she have left? That's a pretty important clue word right here, left, after paying all of these bills. Okay, so it's saying this is how much she gets paid at her job. Okay, then it's saying she's going to spend $1,250 on her rent. So that's how much she is paying for her apartment. So think about, if she is paying for something, what operation do you have to do? Then she's going to spend $325.78 on groceries. So again, what do you have to do when you are buying groceries? What operation is that? And then she's going to spend $55.27 on electricity. Okay, so she has to pay that bill. So knowing what you know about paying bills, buying groceries, what operation do you think we're going to do on this problem? So again, you're going to write your expression, okay, that number model, what you're doing, and then on the bottom line, you're going to write your answer. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute, pause your video, and solve number 4. Okay, let's start with number 5. Number 5 says Aaron selected items totaling $48.75 at the farmer's market. He gave the farmer $60. The farmer incorrectly gave him $12.25 in change. So if we're getting something back in change, what operation do you think we're getting? Okay, so how much change should Aaron have received? Okay, so you're going to come over here, and what are you going to do with that $60 and that $48.75? What operation? And then you're going to write the answer right here, and then you're going to figure out which error the farmer made. Okay, so A says the farmer added instead of subtracted. B, the farmer did not regroup correctly. C, the farmer multiplied. D, the farmer divided instead of subtracting. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute, pause your video, and solve number 5. Okay, so then we're going to move on to number 6 right here. Number 6 says Stephanie buys a bag of grapes for her holiday party. Grapes cost $3.99 per pound. Okay, so for every pound of grapes, she's going to spend $3.99. Okay, so then it says the bag of grapes that she buys weighs 3.5 pounds. Okay, so what are you going to do with that 3.5 and $3.99? Okay, we're trying to figure out how much she's going to pay for her bag of grapes all together. Okay, so this first box right here wants you to tell me what operation you're doing. Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Okay, so think about that. We're having 3.5 pounds of grapes, so a pound, a pound, a pound, and a half. And each one of those pounds is going to cost $3.99, and then you're going to have half a pound right here. So what can you do with those numbers to help you solve that problem? Okay, so you're going to tell me what operation, and then tell me how much she's going to spend on her grapes on the second line. So go ahead and take a minute, pause your video, and solve number 6. Okay. Then number 7 says Mark paid $55.58 to fill his car's gas tank with gas. If the gas tank was empty and the cost of gasoline was $3.97 per gallon, okay, so we're starting off with the total. We're figuring out how many gallons his gas tank will hold. Okay, you guys did a problem like this very similar on your study guides and in class. So think about how would you solve that one? What operation would you use? You're going to circle 1. And then tell me how many gallons of gas does that gas tank hold? Okay. After you are done with these word problems in your test, you can give it to your teacher to look over, and then you may go turn it in to your math teacher.